Hello and welcome to F1 Reacts. Today we're going to be taking a look at the drivers' responses to last week's Spanish Grand Prix, an eventful race, and we'll look at some of their tweets here. First up from Fernando Alonso, he says, "Thank you for this weekend. The race was complicated in the first round, but we did not stop pushing to add good points. 5 races, 5 times in the points. Infinite pride, always running the Spanish Grand Prix. Started 8th, finished 8th, so you can't really ask for much more than that. He's just doing what he's been doing for a few seasons now. Not got the best car, but he's been constantly putting it in the points, and that's what makes him one of the best F1 drivers of all time." Up next, we have Valtteri Bottas. He was second in the race. He says, "1-2 for us today. The car was really strong and the team did all the right calls with strategy. Well done everyone at Mercedes AMG F1. Obviously the disappointment of last time out in Azerbaijan. He wanted to bounce back here and he did that with a comfortable second place and giving Mercedes the 1-2, which they desperately needed after quite a poor start to the season." Up next, Marcus Ericsson. He said, "Not the result I wanted yesterday, P13, but a fun race. Some nice fights and good pace, especially first half of the race. On to Monaco." And he is right with that. The Sauber is showing a lot more pace than we thought it would do this year, even though it does have that current Ferrari engine, but it has been looking good so far. Obviously Charles Leclerc in the points, as we'll come on to talk about, but Sauber not looking too bad this year. Maybe they'll pick up some points in Monaco this weekend. We'll wait and see. Up next, Pierre Gasly. He just put up a photo of him on the back of the moped saying, "Not how I wanted to spend my Sunday." Obviously got caught up in that first lap incident with Romain Grosjean and not really a whole lot he could do about it. So a disappointing weekend for him. Up next we have the one who did cause the incident, Romain Grosjean. He didn't really put up a tweet as such, he just put up a wee video saying race result DNF, so obviously not wanting to say much about it. I think he knows that it was probably his own fault, and I'm sure he'll just put it behind him and look forward to Monaco coming up. Up next, Lewis Hamilton, our race winner. He says, "What a feeling, it's been an awesome weekend, the car felt incredible. I can't thank the team enough for the hard work. To my fans, your energy was with me today as always. You guys are amazing, looking forward to the next one." Obviously Hamilton not winning since Australia. He had been under pressure a wee bit. Obviously we know he's the guy that likes to win at all costs, and I'm sure that this will re-energise him, especially now that he's back in the lead of the driver's standings. I'm sure this will mean that he's re-energised for the rest of the season, especially coming into the European run. Up next, Brendan Hartley. He says, "P12 in Barcelona, big effort from Toro Rosso to get the car back on track for the race. Wish I could have rewarded them with some points, but that was all we had." Next up, one of my faves, Monaco. Obviously he did have that big crash earlier on in the weekend. Really good work from his team to get him out there, and P12 probably about the most he could have got, but more race experience for him under his belt, and he did have some good battles with people on track. Up next, Nico Hulkenberg. He says, "Out of the Spanish Grand Prix on lap 1, nothing I could do, but well, most important, nothing worse happened." Obviously he was another one caught up in the Grosjean incident, as with Gasly. Absolutely nothing he could do about that, but I'm sure he will come back stronger. Obviously he's just lucky that nobody was hurt in that incident, as he points out in his tweet. And up next, Charles Leclerc, another fantastic showing from him. He said, "Again in the points, P10 today, happy with today. Always very difficult to keep this guy behind." Obviously Fernando Alonso he's talking about, but learning twice as much racing with such a driver. Charles Leclerc had a pretty good start to his F1 career so far. Plenty of points picked up, only the one in this particular race, but he has picked up quite a few previously. Did have a good on-track battle, lengthy on-track battle with Fernando Alonso, and that will only serve to make him much better as a driver as we head into the rest of the season. Next up, Kevin Magnussen. He says, "What a day, we already have the same amount of points as last year. A fantastic achievement by the whole team." Obviously Kevin Magnussen finishing best of the rest in 6th place, another good points haul for Haas there. Obviously needed it with Grosjean being eliminated on lap 1. But he's proven himself quite well this year, Kevin Magnussen, and I'm sure he'll be looking to retain that seat at Haas next year or even move up, who knows. Up next, Esteban Ocon. He says, very unlucky today as we were doing a good race for points. 20-second issue at the pit stop, and then an oil pressure problem forced me to retire. On to the next one, we turn the page. Not the best weekend for Force India, this one, but they have been looking a bit better in recent races than they had at the very start of the season, and I'm sure they'll take great pride and energy from that. Up next, his teammate Sergio Perez. He says, on a very difficult weekend, managed to score 2 very important points, and we keep scoring. That is the key in this midfield battle. Just keep scoring points, even if it's only 1s and 2s. It all counts up towards the end of the season, and those 2 points from Sergio Perez could be very valuable come the end. Up next, Carlos Sainz. He just put up a picture with his fellow Spaniard Fernando Alonso. Obviously Sainz finishing in 7th, ahead of Alonso in 8th, so it's a good load of points there for these Spaniards at their home Grand Prix, and Carlos Sainz continues to impress in that Renault. Up next, we have Sergei Sorokin. He basically said next stop Monaco, so not really wanting to go over that race too much. Finished P14 in the end, so last out of the runners that were left at the end of the race, so not a great weekend for him, not been a great start to the season for him, but I'm sure he'll be trying to pick it up as we move along. Lance Stroll, his teammate, he says, walking away from Spain with 11th, really nice to be back in Barcelona, great energy from all the fans over the weekend. Monaco up next, another great start from Lance Stroll, which is something that he's been particularly good at, especially this season. Moved up a couple of places and then we're just hovering around the points. Couldn't catch up to Charles Leclerc for that last point, but he has looked a lot better this season than he had last season, despite it probably being a worse car than he had last season. Stoffel Van Dorn, he says, unfortunate DNF today, looking forward to 2 more days of testing coming up. So yeah, another disappointment for Van Dorn. Obviously his teammate Alonso doing quite well, so he really needs to pick it up soon, otherwise he might be sort of getting left behind in the team standings there. And finally, Max Verstappen, the last man on the podium, P3. He said, I'm very happy with this podium. The car was working really well, even with a missing piece. A big thank you to Red Bull Racing. Obviously not the best start to the season for Verstappen. He's been involved in quite a number of incidents, and it was important that he got this podium for himself and for the team as well, just to show that they are heading in the right direction. But that will be greatly appreciated by all the team at Red Bull. So that is the drivers' reactions to the Spanish Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with the reaction to next week's Grand Prix in Monaco.